அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். என் பேர் s.meyyappa மணிக்கம். So, ஊரு ராச்சலை, கோயில், மாத்தூர், மன்னூர். First of all, thank you for everyone for attending Picnic Panic Series 21. Yes, it's Series 21. இது வந்து போன வருஷம் ஏப்ரல் 10 ஆரம்பிச்சேன். ஸோ இன்னைக்கு வந்து 1 year anniversary. ஸோ இட்ஸ் அ ஸ்பெஷல் ப்ரோக்ராம் ஃபார் மீ அண்ட் ஃபார் எவ்ரி ஒன். தேங்க் யூ ஆல் ஃபார் த சப்போர்ட். ஸோ இதை போன வருஷம் இந்த கொரோனா காலத்தில் ஆரம்பிச்சனால ஸோ ஒரு பப்ளிக் ஸ்பீக்கிங் ஒர்க் ஷாப் மாதிரி ஆரம்பிப்போம். அதை தொடர்ந்து ஒரு 3 வாரம் பண்ணிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் சில பேர் என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னா, சரி மற்ற ஸ்பீக்கர்ஸையும் கொண்டாங்க, ஸ்பெஷல் ஸ்பீக்கர்ஸ், இந்த சில ஏரியாவில் நிபுணத்துவம் பெற்றவங்க, the specialty, the specialists and stuff. So let's get those people to share their knowledge and stuff. So that's why we had people who are in arts line, in songs, in leadership, student leadership and stuff. All right. So we had speakers from various field, and we had speakers not only from Malaysia, we had speakers from Singapore, we had speakers from India, we had speakers from Australia. சரி, இந்த ஒரு 4 ஊருக்குள்ளே இல்ல 4 நாடுக்குள்ளே இருந்துச்சு இந்த ஸ்பீக்கர்ஸ் எல்லாம். ஸோ அப்புறம் என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னா, சரி இந்த 4 நாடு தவிர let's move on to other countries. So that's what I thought, okay, let's move on to different continent. And thanks to the support of the people, so they recommended our speaker today. All right. And they were also saying that நம்ம நகர்த்தாரோட உணவு வந்து நம்ம அறுசுவையான உணவு, so healthy food, but it also had its negative portion if you don't take it in a proper way. So that's what people suggested. Okay, let's have a talk on a diet if you can get a speaker. So thanks a lot for the support and stuff. So that's why we got our speaker today. So before we move on with the session, just to let you know, just mute yourself for the entire session, and later in the kelvi angathla varumbodhu you can unmute yourself and you can ask questions, okay, or you can also ask it at the chat box itself. Right. So first of all, for today's attendees, we had not only speakers, attendees from US, we also have attendees from Singapore, from Malaysia, from Bangladesh, also from Australia and India. Right. So we had attendees not only from one particular country, but various other countries around the globe. So it's actually a great platform to see all of you virtually. Okay, although we couldn't meet with the current situation, but it's great to see all of you from different location at one same single platform. All right. So who is our speaker today? All right. Our speaker is actually owner of a Chicagoland dietitian and private practice, and also renal dietitian of Frenius Dialysis, and consultant dietitian for Patel Brothers Grocery Store and Chain, and also volunteer for H&H, all right, team of NSNA. NSNA is actually the Northern American Nagartar Association, right? Yeah, Nagartar Sangam, correct. Okay, yeah, that's the actual word, right? So thanks a lot for the support. So without much ado, let me introduce the speaker for today, Sri Shakti Ramanathan, RD, LDN, with the title Build Your Plate. Over to you, Achi.
All right. First of all, Vanakkam, and good morning to all the Malaysia Nagarathar. Thank you for joining. Also, there are other people from India. I see a lot of my relatives. Thank you. There are people from Australia, India, different places, and the United States over here. So good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is. Thank you for joining. So Inniki, I am going to teach you how to build a healthy plate. Okay, so if you want to take a piece of paper and pencil, please go ahead and grab it. I'm just going to give you a few seconds. Otherwise, if some of you may have heard me speak on this topic before, so if you want to listen in, just for a refresher, that's fine. But if you have a piece of paper, I want you to build this plate along with me. So this is going to be a workshop. Okay, so on a piece of paper, draw a big circle and divide that into half. And divide the bottom also into 2. So you have 3 parts like this. So we are going to be building our plate with 3 different rules. Okay, next slide, Anand. All right, before we zoom into what's going to be on the plate, let's zoom out, step back and take a look at where we all stand. So we all are Nagaratars. We fall under the broad category called South Asians. So South Asians need about 1,400 to 1,800 calories a day. This is a very rough estimate. அதாவது ஒரு 5 feet 2 inch to a 5 feet 5 inch average South Asianக்கு not very active personக்கு இந்த அளவு calories ஒரு rough estimate. So if you're an athlete or if you're a taller person or if you're a much older person, your calories will differ. But for today, we'll just look at a rough estimate. And these calories are distributed between carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Okay, so இப்ப நம்ம வந்து இப்ப என்ன சொன்னேன் அப்படின்னு நீங்க கன்ஃபியூஸ் ஆகாதீங்க. இதெல்லாம் எப்படி நான் உட்கார்ந்து கணக்கு போடணுமா, நான் எண்ணிக்கிட்டு இருக்கணுமா எத்தனை grams of protein? You don't have to do any of that. You just have to build your plate the way I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you portion sizes. So நீங்க அந்த ஒரு plate கரெக்ட்டா build பண்ணா the big picture will fall in place. So if I will teach you how to eat and then you'll get your calorie needs and you'll get the different portions of protein, carbs, and fats as well. Okay, so finally, then though these are then distributed between 3 meals and snacks, and then you decide what to eat. So you have control over what you're going to eat. All right, next slide, Anand. All right, I have a slogan here, and that is plate, eat, repeat. So you're going to plate the food with 3 rules. Then you're going to eat and then repeat this every single day. You also do have cheat days like nama kalyanakara veedu or visheshakara veedla vanduchina. You can of course have a cheat day, but you have to keep that limited to once in 10 days. So you can't have rich food almost every other day. Try to eat simple food for the most part, and then you get your cheat days. Next slide. All right, so before I start explaining my 3 rules for a healthy plate, I am going to tell you that we have to all be on the same page, right? So because ellarum nama veetla we use different measures. So today, everything that I'm going to talk about is going to pertain to the baking cup. So if some of you bake, you'll know what I'm talking about. But if you do not have a baking cup, nammaloda olakku irukudilla, you can use that as well. So olakku vandu pretty close to this cup. So this is about 8 ounces or 240 ml. This is about 7.5 ounces, close by. So it's about 200 ml. So adanal it's pretty close. So veetla baking cup illaina neenga olakku bayanpaduthalam. Neenga tumbler, பெரிய மக்கு, கரண்டி, குழிக்கரண்டி எல்லாம் பயன்படுத்துனீங்கன்னா you have to make sure how many of this will equal this before you go on. இல்லாட்டி உங்களுக்கு நான் ஒரு கப் சாப்பிடுன்னு சொல்லும்போது நீங்க ஒரு பெரிய கப் எடுத்து மெஷர் பண்ணக்கூடாது. So we all have to be on the same page. We are going to, all of us, our reference today will be 1 cup or it's about 240 ml. But otherwise, நீங்க உங்க உலக்க கூட யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம். It's pretty close. Next slide. Okay, if some of you want to, are taking down notes or anything. So the first part, rule number 1, the bigger half, I want you to write non-starchy vegetables. So in the group, எவ்வளவு நம்ம சாப்பிடணும் first சொல்லிடுறேன், then I'll tell you what that group contains. Okay, so first we have to aim for about 2 cups every meal. 2 cup அளவுக்கு நமக்கு vegetables இருக்கணும். So let's say olakke நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ணீங்கன்னா கூட this is all cooked portion. இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பேசுறது எல்லாமே cooked portions க்கு தான். So you want to aim for 2 cups. Okay, now what falls under this group? When I say non-starchy vegetables, I mean that these vegetables have very, very few grams of carbohydrates. ரொம்ப கம்மியான அளவு மாவுச்சத்து இருக்கு. So they are pretty much without any starch. And what falls in this group? On the left-hand side of my slide, on the right-hand side of the slide, you see examples. ஸோ நம்ம எல்லா காய்கறியும் இதுல சேர போகுது. சவ் சவ், காலிஃப்ளவர், ஸ்பினிச், நம்மளுடைய ஆல் த கோட்ஸ், பிட்டர் கோட், ஸ்னேக் கோட், பாட்டில் கோட், drumstick, cabbage, capsicum, everything comes under this group, excepting potato, corn, cholam, and valaka, pumpkin. These things, so at the bottom I've written. So there are few vegetables that have a lot of starch, so they're going to be moved into a different section. I'll tell you the rules for that, okay? So let me back up a little bit. We're talking about the first rule for a healthy plate. I see some people are joining the call just now. So the first rule for a healthy plate, you want to aim for 2 cups of vegetable per meal. So this can come from நம்ம கூட்டுல இருந்து வரலாம், மசாலா காயில இருந்து வரலாம், so சாம்பார்ல இருந்து வரலாம், எதுல இருந்து வேணாலும் வரலாம். பட் எல்லாத்தையும் கூட்டி பார்க்கும்போது அரௌண்ட் 2 கப்ஸ் நீங்க ஐபால் பண்ற அளவுக்கு இருக்கணும். ஓகே, ப்ரிஃபரபிளி இது வெள்ளை பொரியலாவோ கூட்டாவோ இருந்தா பெட்டர், பிகாஸ் இட் வில் மசாலா காயில நம்ம ஜாஸ்தியான ஆயில் யூஸ் பண்ணுவோம். ஓகே, இப்ப சாம்பார்ல கவுண்ட் பண்ணும்போது லிக்விட் போர்ஷன் கவுண்ட் பண்ணாதீங்க, ஜஸ்ட் த வெஜிடபிள் பார்ட். உங்களுக்கு ஒரு வேளைக்கு there has to be 2 cups. Again டின்னருக்கும் உங்களுக்கு அரௌண்ட் 2 cups இருக்கணும். Okay, so this is the first rule, 2 cups of non-starchy vegetables at lunch and at dinner. பிரேக்ஃபாஸ்ட்டுக்கு நீங்க வெஜிடபிள் சாப்பிடலாம், சாப்பிடாம இல்லாட்டியும் இட்ஸ் ஆப்ஷனல். பட் லஞ்ச் அண்ட் டின்னர் இந்த அளவு கண்டிப்பா இருக்கணும். மோஸ்ட் ஆஃப் அஸ் டின்னர்ல ரொம்ப கம்மியான அளவு தான் காய் சாப்பிடுவோம். ஸோ யூ வாண்ட் டு ஃபோக்கஸ் ஆன் தட் அண்ட் இன்க்ரீஸ் யுவர் வெஜிடபிள் இன்டேக். This can just be simply boiled or steamed, and you can just put a little bit little bit. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of cooking. So if it's a working population and you're wondering how am I going to do all of this cooking, it can just be simple as well. It can be raw also, it can be cooked, doesn't matter. Next slide. So in the next slide, so we have spoken about the first rule for a healthy plate. On your piece of paper, I want you to write the second one, that is going to be called carbohydrates or mavuchattu. So carbohydrates la vandu, I'm going to take a little bit of time to explain this because a lot of things fall under this group. But உங்களுக்கு ஒரு வேளைக்கு சாப்பிட வேண்டிய அளவு வந்து 1 cup, whatever ஒரு கப்புக்குள்ள கொள்ளுதோ சமைச்சதுக்கு அப்புறம். ஸோ இப்போ நீங்க ஒரு சாதம் பண்ணிருக்கீங்கன்னா இவ்வளவு நீங்க ஸ்கூப் பண்ணிட்டீங்கன்னா ஒரு கப். திஸ் இஸ் பிரிட்டி மச் லைக் ஈக்குவல் டு நம்ம சாத கரண்டியில ஒரு 2 இருந்து 3 கரண்டி, நாட் வெரி ஹீட். ஸோ ஒரு 2 கரண்டி சாதம் போட்டா இது வந்துடும். ஹீட் 2 ladles. So or as I already said, if you don't have baking cups, உலக்கு கூட pretty close. உலக்கையே நீங்க மெஷரிங்க்கு நான் இன்னைக்கு சொல்ற எல்லாத்துக்கும் யூஸ் பண்ணலாம். ஓகே, ஸோ இப்போ நம்ம கார்போஹைட்ரேட்ஸ்ல I told you I want you to write carbohydrates. அளவு வந்து 1 cup, whatever fits into that. இப்ப ஒருவேளை அது இட்லி, தோசை, சப்பாத்திங்கிற மாதிரி ஸ்லைசஸ்ல இருந்துச்சுன்னா 2 to 3. ஸோ அதுவும் எழுதிக்கிங்க. ஓகே, ஸோ 2 to 3 இருக்கணும். இப்போ இதுக்கு அடியில என்னெல்லாம் வருதுன்னு பார்க்கலாம். ஆல் டைப்ஸ் ஆஃப் ரைஸ் வெரைட்டிஸ் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நீங்க பாக்குறீங்க. ப்ரௌன் ரைஸ், ஒயிட் ரைஸ், வைல்ட் ரைஸ், எந்த மாதிரி ரைஸா இருந்தாலும் 1 கப்பு தான். எவ்வளவு 1 கப்புக்குள்ள கொள்ளுதோ, ஏன்னா எந்த மாதிரி ரைஸா இருந்தாலும் அதுக்கு கார்போஹைட்ரேட்ஸ் இருக்கதான் போகுது. Maybe some rices have little more fiber, so it will fill you up. ஆனாலும் quantity still நீங்க maintain பண்ணணும். அதே மாதிரி தான் millets, quinoa, சில பேர் அதுவும் சாப்பிடுறாங்க. ஸோ சாதத்துக்கு பதிலா இப்ப வேற எது நீங்க வடிக்கிறீங்க, லைக் pearl millet, foxtail millet, barnyard millet, அதாவது திணை, குதிரைவால், கம்பு, கேழ்வரகு, இந்த மாதிரி எது சாப்பிட்டாலும் 1 கப் அளவு தான். அதுல சில பேர் சாம்பார் ஊத்தி சாப்பிடுவாங்க, கூட்டு போட்டு சாப்பிடுவாங்க. That's fine, but நீங்க still you cannot exceed. And again, I'm telling you, this is for a very average sedentary person. So ரொம்ப activities இல்லாதவங்களுக்கு. If you are an active person, you can eat more. So இன்னைக்கு வந்து ஒரு rough estimate தான் பார்க்கிறோம். Okay, so அடுத்தது starchy vegetables. நான் சொன்னேன் இல்லையா, வாழைக்காய், உருளைக்கிழங்கு எல்லாம் வெஜிடபிள் கேட்டகரியில இருந்து எடுத்துட்டு நான் கார்போஹைட்ரேட் கேட்டகரியில போட்டிருக்கேன். ஓகே, சோ இப்ப நீங்க அன்னைக்கு உருளைக்கிழங்கு மசாலா அண்ட் சாதம் பண்ணிருந்தீங்கன்னா பாதி தான் சாப்பிடணும். So because it all falls in the same group. இது எல்லாத்துக்கும் அளவு 1 கப்பு தான். ஸோ மொத்தத்துக்கு. And if you're a more active person, of course you can eat more. இன்னைக்கு ஒரு rough estimate தான் நான் சொல்றேன். இப்போ கொலக்கட்டை, பணியாரம், pastas, noodles, kanji, porridge எல்லாமே இந்த category கடியில வரப்போகுது. Also, interestingly, fruits also are in this category. Okay, they also contain their own carbohydrates, their own sugar called fructose. So, அதுவும் கார்போஹைட்ரேட்ங்கிறதுனால நீங்க ரைஸ் சாப்பிட்டீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு ஃப்ரூட் அதே வேளையில சாப்பிட இடம் இருக்காது, பிகாஸ் உங்க கார்ப் லிமிட் நீங்க முடிச்சிட்டீங்க. அதனால நீங்க ஃப்ரூட் வந்து you have to move it to a snack. So அதனால you won't be able to load up on that at the same time. Okay, so this is the end of the second rule. So I'm going to again revise again. So we finished we are looking at 3 rules for a healthy plate. Rule number 1 was non-starchy vegetables. Rule number 2 was the carbohydrates. We are going to limit it to 1 cup. Next slide, please. And third compartment, we have protein. So protein it's very important, and I want you to write down protein at the kadila. I see a lot of you taking notes. That's really good. So you want to aim for, so this is a 1 cup, this is a half cup, right? So you want to aim for anywhere from a half cup of, if you're a chicken or meat eater, half cup, and then paruppu ellame idu kadila varapodhu, around 1 cup of protein. Half to 1 cup, but 1 cup of protein you can have. So if you're an athlete, you're definitely going to need more, but for a sedentary person, 1 cup or a meal, that's enough. And then you can have again for dinner. You can also have it for snack. So let's see what falls under this category. Okay, so we have the proteins na vandu renda divide panna poren. There are some proteins that have carbohydrates, and then there are some that don't. Okay, so the proteins that have carbohydrates are number paruppu vagaigal, and also all the legumes, the paruppu plus and the full legumes. So thovaram paruppu, pasi paruppu, also channa, rajma, the fulla irukra and the whole lentils as well. Okay, also sprouted legumes fall here. Sundal, kootu vandu is a combo of vegetable and a protein, so it's a really good food. Also here I want you to see yogurt and milk also are protein, but they do have carbohydrate. So பருப்பு உருண்டை பண்ணுவோம் நம்ம sometimes, or veggie chunk cutlets பண்றோம், இது எல்லாமே protein. You want to aim to eat about a cup, definitely 1 cup. And if you want to eat more than a cup from this, you might have to give up a little bit of rice. ஏன்னா ரைஸ்லயும் carb இருக்குது இல்லையா? So for right now, if you're having proteins that have carbohydrates, try to limit it to 1 cup. And then you can also have egg, chicken, tofu. All of these do not have carbs. But I don't want you to think that, okay, eating a lot of chicken, like in the keto diet or paleo diet, it will increase your cholesterol. So you still want to limit it. Even though it doesn't have carbs and you think that it's not going to make you gain weight, it will increase your, it will disrupt your blood panel. Okay? So we looked at the 3 different rules. The first one is non-starchy vegetables. Second is protein. Second is carbohydrates, and the third is protein. So go to the next slide, please. Okay, so in summary, this is what we are going to be aiming for every plate. And remember, when every plate falls in place, the big picture will fall in place, and you will end up eating the right way. And you'll be able to maintain your body weight. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so here's where, so now I have an example. Let's put things in perspective and see how are we going to apply this. So we're going to see that, okay, Solachi has made all of these food items today. Okay, so by the way, like Solachi is me, so my name is Solachi. This is what I made. So இப்போ இதெல்லாம் நான் பண்ணியிருக்கிறேன். So I've made rice, pulka, chow chow கூட்டு, mushroom masala. அப்புறம் அன்னைக்கு yogurt இருக்குது. There is also egg whites, boiled egg whites or omelette. Pear இருக்குது, sliced pears, and also sliced cucumbers. இது எல்லாமே இருக்குது. But what am I going to eat today, and what am I going to eat the next day for lunch? Because if you're a working person, or even if you are planning to just cook today and keep it for tomorrow, you can see what you want to eat to meet the rules, okay? So if you're a working person, you could also put it into a compartment box like this with 3 compartments, and the bigger compartment should hold the vegetables. And then the smaller compartments should hold the protein and the carbs, okay? So, so now if I take, so let's say, chow chow so I'm going to pack chow chow, rice, and mushroom masala. This is what I've decided. So how much am I going to take and how am I going to pack it? Right? So if chow chow, I'm going to take a lot of it, like 1.5 cup edukka poren. Adula paadi which is 3/4 of the cup is going to be chow chow and 3/4 of the cup paruppu nainga. So I'm putting my little calculation. Chow chow 3/4 of a cup, mushroom masala 1/2 cup. I'm like, oh, I've only reached up to a cup of vegetables. I need to reach up to 2 cups. So I decide I can put some sliced cucumbers in there. So I've come to about 1 3/4 cup of vegetable. Great. I'm only packing about 3/4 cup of rice. And then I also want to eat yogurt, but I can't eat it now because I've used up my, carbohydrate allowance. So I'm going to move it off to dinner or to a snack. Because you can always have fruit and yogurt as a snack. For the rule number 3, for the protein part, we have the kootula irukra paruppu will count over here. And if I look like, oh, my meal looks really small, I can add some egg whites to this. And egg whites are really very low. They don't have any cholesterol or fat in it. So this is how I would do, we make food, but how much are we going to plate for ourselves is what matters. And that's what will decide, if you hit all the components. So now I can check off each of the components and I know I got my plate right. That way I don't have to sit and count the calories and carbs and protein. I know it will fall in place. So next slide. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. And anybody has questions, you can unmute and ask me, or you can directly send it to Meyya, and then he will also ask me. So yes, go ahead, Peripa. Peripa, you have to unmute.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself and ask question.
Peripa, I can't hear you because you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, sure. I will share the slides after the event together with the video itself. I'll do that.
Okay.
Maybe actually I can start first with the question segment.
Okay, sure.
On the slides, you actually propose a 9-inch plate.
Yeah.
Right. So of course at home we can buy those kind of plates.
Peripa, I can hear you. I'm answering one question. I'll come to you in just a little bit.
Okay.
I can hear you. Yeah. Go ahead, Meyya.
Okay, so in the 9-inch plate is good a measurement, so of course I can buy it and keep it at home. The problem is when I go outside, usually for working people, நம்ம ஆபீஸ்ல lunch போறோம் இப்ப. So அங்க போய் நம்ம inch tape எடுத்துட்டு இருக்க முடியாது. So to measure and stuff, and sometimes சில restaurant they give a bigger plate. All right, it can be even a 12-inch or 13-inch depending on the restaurant. Or certain restaurants, they give a smaller plate, probably 6-inch or 5-inch. It depends on restaurants. So how do you manage this sizing when you are outside of your home?
Yes. So adukku you'll have to just be mindful and eyeball what you're going to eat. And I recommend if you are eating out every lunchtime, let's say you are or getting food from a restaurant, you always, when they bring your food, ask them for a to-go box at the same time. So they will always give you a lid, right, or a to-go box. Intentionally, you should eat only what you want to eat. And mittadukku neengale moodi pottu, you can bring it home or leave it in the fridge. So I recommend if they are serving you, because you paid for what they're going to give you, so you already got a lot. So neenga appa ukkandu romba yosika vendam. Like I said, you can be a little bit easy, but if you feel that you only have like noodles, rice, and like some chicken that's been battered and fried, Leia, you have to order a side salad. or ask them to bring you vegetables. So நீங்க நான் சொன்ன 3 ரூல்ஸும் நீங்க தான் உங்க மனக்கணக்கு போட்டுக்கணும். ஒரு அப்ராக்சிமேட்டா ஒரு கையளவு ரைஸ் இருக்கா, ஓகே, ஒரு 2 கையளவு வெஜிடபிள்ஸ் இருக்குது, ஒரு கையளவு protein. So you could even go by hand measures or even eyeball it when you don't have measuring things with you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Okay,
So,
Anand, you can ask your question. Yeah. Ramanathan,
go ahead.
Yeah. No, this diet will hold good for a diabetic also is one question.
Yeah.
The second question, I have consciously tried to increase the amount of vegetables on my plate, okay, and decrease the rice off plate. And I started eating at 9:30 my lunch, which I'm finding very comfortable. But I do find that eating a lot of vegetables is a little overwhelming. Okay, so would the digestion be a problem, or you'll have to get used to it and slowly increase the amount of vegetables?
Okay, great. So let me answer the first question is, yes, this will hold good for diabetic. I have done, for most of my patients with diabetes, I tell them the same thing, but if they are a more active person, I will increase that rice amount a little bit more. The vegetables and the protein are going to still stay the same. So yes, this is going to be within that 175 grams of carbohydrates for the whole day. அதுக்குள்ள வந்துரும். ஆனா நீங்க என்ன வேண்டாம், because it's about அதுக்கு எக்ஸாக்டா வந்து ஒரு மீலுக்கு 45 grams கார்பா உங்களுக்கு இதுவே ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா செப்பரேட் ஆகி வந்துரும் if you're going to follow. And second question, yes, eating a lot of this much of vegetable is overwhelming. A lot of people say that, but it will become a habit only after a month. So first நீங்க 1 cup, நீங்க இப்ப ஒரு usually typically people who come to me அரை cup தான் vegetables சாப்பிடுறாங்க. So nobody is coming at the full amount. So when you're eating just half a cup of vegetable, increase it to 1 cup, then to 1.5, and then aim for 2. You don't have to go right away into the 2 cups. Also, what will help is, if you reduce your rice quantity, you will automatically have room for the vegetables. So it's going to go hand in hand. ஏற்கனவே நீங்க 3 லேடில் சாதம் போட்டுக்கிட்டு இருந்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு ஹோல் மீலுக்கு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் 2 லேடில் மட்டும் போடுங்க. Then you decide, okay, I'll try to finish the vegetables and then go on. But it is a habit, it will take time. Also, as for digestion, that you will have to take it as it comes. சில பேருக்கு raw vegetables they cannot eat, so then no problem, you can cook it. And for some people, they have to mash it down a lot. That's okay. But if you cannot tolerate 2 cups, at least 1 cup is mandatory. 1 cup கண்டிப்பா சாப்பிட்டே ஆகணும். இல்லாட்டி உங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப சீக்கிரமா பசி வரும், and you'll end up having to eat more rice in place of that. So try and find out what vegetables will suit you. So it will not do anything to your digestion if you're a person who already is fine. But yes, it will be overwhelming. So ஈஸியா நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா கூட்டுல இருந்து வரும், கொஞ்சம் மசாலா காயில இருந்து வரும், சாம்பார்ல இருந்து வரும். So about a cup is easy to get. Start with that and move on to the 2 cups as you can.
One question, one suggestion for instruction. While taking this rice, you are suggesting that cup of rice. Okay. Now, many times when we cook the rice, there are certain times அது நல்ல பொலன்னு இருக்கும், சில சமயத்துல கேக்டா இருக்கும். ஓகேயா? So இந்த கேக்டா இருந்ததுன்னா, the volume that if you take it as a full cup, when you spread it out, the volume is very high. Okay?
Yes.
பொலன்னு இருக்கிற போது the volume is, I think, is just right. So பொலன்னு இந்த கப் சரியா ஒர்க் அவுட் ஆகும் நான் நினைக்கிறேன்.
Yeah, exactly. So this is really a rough estimate. As you're saying, you can judge it up. நீங்க சொல்றது correct. When this rice, if it's from a rice cooker, it's going to be stuck up together and it's going to be more packed. So yes, correct. You can automatically reduce it. You don't have to have a whole cup. You can even have less than that. And then because உங்களுக்கு vegetables சாப்பிடுறதுக்கு உங்களுக்கு room வேணும். So a lot of people, especially diabetics, they learn to eat less than a cup of rice and it's more than enough. இது வந்து ஒரு just a larger audience-காக I said like a cup. A great question. Thank you. Anybody else? Questions?
Yes, doctor. You can ask the question.
Yes, sure.
Thank you, Meyya. Actually, I'm not the lady. My name is on the lady in the ID.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for the presentation. It was very relevant to our Nagarata's meal and everything. So it was something different. I have a few questions. Meyya, you can stop me if others want to ask questions. I'm fine with it.
Sure.
Okay.
No problem.
First thing is, you actually, I thought our Nagarata genes, fortunately, we are in a better type of genes where we look at most of the Nagaratas, I think around the globe as well. We are more on the leaner side and medium-sized side. But the future is we look in a different way for even for ladies and men or females as well. So my question is related with the age. If children's, how do we handle this? The advices you have given. Another question is, if let's say for men, especially for men over the age of 40, they tend to put on weight much faster, or ladies could be a different age group. So what would be your advice for that kind of age groups for children and men of age 40 or ladies, maybe a different age group? Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So yes, to answer the first question, yeah, actually, generally, Nagaratarna mattume illa. People think Asians have better genes, all of them, because we're of a leaner body type. அது வந்து it's not all true because நமக்கு வந்து we are leaner, but when you have the fat around your belly, that's equal to actually being obese. So yes, we are fortunate. I mean, our lifespan, longevity is high, but how many complications do we tackle within that lifetime? அதை நம்ம ரெடியூஸ் பண்றதுக்கு வந்து yes, Nagaratar food is good. Nagaratars do have a better genes in நம்ம நினைக்கிறோம், but actually we fall under the South Asians எல்லாருக்குமே the risk for heart disease and diabetes is just the same. Nagaratar are not an exception, but we are very good at managing it. So that's how I'm going to put it. We're good at managing it, so we are able to live a longer life and tackle everything. South Asians varra ella type of things is also holds good for us too. So adanala we also have to be careful. And nammaloda BMI cutoff vandu 23 actually 24.5 vandu general population ku, but Asian ethnicity ke and specifically for South Asians BMI vandu 25. Ena nama vandu we have the thin body type, but we have a little bit fat around the belly. Adukagave, and the BMI is a little bit lower for us. So I hope I answered somewhat. So we're not at a better edge. We may think we are, but we are about the same, just like all South Asians. And then secondly, for kids, we have to make it more interesting and in the same quantity. The vegetable will decrease to 1 cup. And you can make it finger foods for them. It doesn't have to be all, we can't give them like millets. They may not like it, but we can give them rice. We can give them chapati, idli. But நம்ம புள்ளைங்களை வந்து 2 to 3 கவுண்ட்டுக்கு மேல நம்மளே வச்சு இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ண வேண்டாம், ஃபோர்ஸ் பண்ணி சாப்பிடுன்னு சொல்ல வேணாம். What we have to teach them or role model to them is how to increase their vegetable quantity from a younger life. So carb quantity, நீங்க இது ரொம்ப without even talking too much of it, you can role model it, like what you plate for yourself, and then the kids can see what they plate for themselves. They will see, oh, if parents are eating more vegetables, then they will also end up eating more. So you'll have to make it more fun. And the quantities that I explained, like with the 3 rules, it will be the 3 rules still will be the same, but the quantity will be lesser for kids and can be more flexible for them. And men and women, you asked the third question was, they gain weight over after 40 years old. Yes, it's true both for men and women. You will just have to increase your exercise. I know some of you here go for walking every day. I know some of you, play other sports. But நீங்க கண்டிப்பா அது 1 hourல இருந்து as you get older, you have to increase it to 2 hours. Half an hour here and there, so you're not sitting all day. So that is the only way to battle that weight gain after 40. And of course, definitely following the 3 rules for a healthy plate, with the vegetable being that first, try to fit that in. And if there's no room for carbs, then that's fine. Like how the other person asked, eating a lot of vegetables is overwhelming, but if you reduce the other things, then that might not be overwhelming. Anybody? And then I hope I answered part of your question.
Okay. Can I go ahead, Meyya? Is there anyone
yes,
else
doctor.
wants to ask questions? Okay. My next question is on the meal timings. I remember there was a saying at one time, you eat a certain type of meal as a pauper and certain type of a meal as a king. But your presentation just now said is 3 regular meals, which I totally agree. But in reality, sometimes people work on different working hours. So what would be your take on that, on the meal time and the different type of meals for that?
Yes, you don't, if you definitely a bigger breakfast is recommended, but if you don't, it's fine. And some people eat a very, what you want to eat every meal it's okay. I just don't recommend skipping meals, and you don't have to eat a very heavy lunch. And just to compensate for that, to eat like a pauper at dinner time. That is, it's totally, it's actually like a, how can we say, for that time and age where they worked all morning, that held good. But இப்போ நம்ம ரொம்ப sedentary lifestyle. So அதுக்கு வந்து இந்த மாதிரி 3 even meals is better. And of course, definitely snacks. Now, I didn't have time to talk about snacks, but snacks in between நம்ம சாப்பிடலாம். So breaking up the meals is actually the way to go now, because we are a very sedentary lifestyle. அப்போ நம்ம king மாதிரி and queen மாதிரி சாப்பிட்டப்போ வந்து a lot of work was also there. So, yeah.
Thanks, Achi. Yeah, I think I agree. You must have that balance meal rather than having
Yes.
an increase and decrease and different segments of the day. All right, that's good. So I think Narayanan, you have a question.
Hello, yeah. Achi, என் பேர் Narayanan from Malaysia. நான் வந்து late 50s age group. நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி நம்ம வந்து generally அந்த lean body structure இருக்கு. So what I noticed நாளா வந்து when you start doing more of cardiac and things like that, we tend to become thinner and thinner, or even a small built மாதிரி ஆயிருது. நம்ம இருந்த அந்த சைஸ் இல்ல. So அதுக்கு வந்து generally what they say is இப்ப protein வந்து நிறைய சாப்பிடணும் and things like that. And especially our age group, late 50s and all, that is one. Number 2, diabetes. I've been trying not to take any medicine, and I'm going on heavy exercise, food control and things like that. Thank God it's okay. But still it's on the borderline. So people say you should take vendayam சாப்பிடலாம் and all those kind of things and all. So உங்களோட advice என்ன?
Yes. So first, இப்போ நீங்க வந்து, I know that you are, you want to not take medication. So அதுக்கு வந்து first நான் சொல்ல போறது என்னன்னா, ஒரு certain level வரைக்கும் தான் you can manage your diabetes without medication. So what is that cutoff? If your hemoglobin A1C level is greater than 7, or actually even lower, if it's greater than 6.4, hemoglobin A1C அப்படிங்கிற test வந்து your doctor will usually do for you. அது வந்து if it is greater than 6.4 or 7, you must take medication and then try to keep it at normal levels. The reason is because for the Asian ethnicity, we have what's called the beta cell burnout. So let me explain that in like simple terms. So we have the pancreas that makes insulin that helps digest or take care of the blood sugar, right? But the beta cells, there are alpha cells and beta cells. The beta cells are the ones that make insulin. But the beta cells, as you age, start dying. In everybody, it starts dying. But in South Asians, specifically Indians, they die faster. So you end up with, if you got diabetes, இது வந்து diabetes இருக்கு உங்களுக்கு. So if you have the gene for it, as you get older, some people at 70 years old, நீங்க சொல்லுவீங்க எங்க அப்பச்சிக்கு வந்து 70ல தான் diabetes வந்துச்சு. அது வந்து due to body's wear and tear, his pancreas is, wearing off, and the beta cells in that is wearing off, and the insulin secretion is decreasing. So நீங்க வந்து try your best. If your hemoglobin A1C levels are less than 6.4, you don't need to take medication. Even if you're borderline, they call it borderline. But on the hemoglobin A1C, தயவு செஞ்சு check பண்ணுங்க, because அது வந்து உங்களுக்கு சைலண்டா ரொம்ப நாள் கழிச்சு திடீர்னு உங்களுக்கு complications வரதுக்கு வாய்ப்பு இருக்கு. So go with the blood check with your doctor and take medications. It might be just a small dose of metformin, because வெந்தயம் வந்து உங்களை ஒரு லெவல் வரைக்கும் கண்டிப்பா உதவி பண்ணும். பட் அதுக்கு மேல பண்ணாதப்ப நீங்க வந்து அதுக்கு ஸ்டெப் எடுத்து you have to move to the next level. I know it's difficult to accept. அது நீங்க பண்ணணும். And yes, you can eat more protein when if you're having a leaner body type. And even if it's protein, be careful. If it's a non-vegetarian protein, அளவா சாப்பிடுங்க. vegetarian protein you can have more, but vegetarian protein சாப்பிடுறப்ப நீங்க மித்த ரைஸ் எல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் குறைச்சிக்கலாம், because vegetarian proteinல கார்போஹைட்ரேட்ஸும் இருக்கு, அதாவது பருப்புல புரதச்சத்தும் இருக்கு, மாவுச்சத்தும் இருக்கு.
Just one more question.
Sure.
இப்போ youngsters வந்து, those who are bodybuilders, I know Meyya too. So அவங்க வந்து, but I don't know his food habits, but I know my children. அவங்க வந்து, of course, they do a lot of gym work and things like that, workout. So அவங்க வந்து they tend to eat more, take more eggs. அவங்க சொல்றது வந்து, okay, அதுதான் ப்ரோட்டீனுக்கு. So they even take up to 6 or 7. Of course, as usual, நம்ம வீட்டுல வந்து ஆச்சி எல்லாம் சொல்லுவாங்க, இல்ல ஒரு சாப்பிடக்கூடாது, ரொம்ப சாப்பிடக்கூடாது, all those things. So நீங்க என்ன உங்களோட சஜஷன்?
Yes, so yes, if it is egg whites, he can have as many as he wants. On an egg yolk, egg whites he can, because அதுதான் பேசிக்கலா egg protein powderலயும் அதுதான் பண்றாங்க, preservatives ஓட போட்டு நமக்கு கொடுக்குறாங்க. அவர் இல்லாட்டி பால்ல இருந்து பண்றாங்க whey protein powder. So நீங்க இப்போ உங்க kids வந்து if they're doing it in the right way, இப்போ உங்களோட kidsக்கு வந்து ஆக்சுவலா if they're an athlete and a bodybuilder, their protein needs increase, but at the same time be wise not to get too much cholesterol with it. So உங்க பசங்க வந்து high protein எடுக்கும்போது it has to be lean protein. So if you want, you can tell your kids, yes, protein is okay, and ஆச்சியும் நீங்களும் வந்து அவங்க ரொம்ப worry ஆயிராதீங்க. Don't get worried. If he's eating 6 egg yolks a day, that's really bad. But if he's eating 6 egg whites, that is okay. Yes, and 1 egg yolk per day is that should be enough. And mithapadi, if he's having a leaner cut of chicken, like a chicken breast versus the chicken leg, that's got lesser fat, but with the same amount of protein, and definitely take the skin off. The skin is where all the fat is.
Just my last question. Fruits வந்து எந்தெந்த fruits not good for diabetes, and எந்தெந்த fruits it's okay, number 1. Number 2, நைட்ல வந்து fruits எடுக்க கூடாது for those who are having diabetes. ரெண்டு எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணுங்க. That's all. I think I end up my questions. Thank you.
Okay. So next somebody else can ask a question. But உங்களுக்கான இப்போ வந்து, so that's a myth. So இப்போ எப்படின்னா, அதாவது நைட் ஃப்ரூட்ஸ் சாப்பிடக்கூடாது, இப்போ அதெல்லாம் உங்களுடைய தோதுக்கு. அது எப்படின்னா சில பேருக்கு digestive system is different. ஆனா இதுல where the catch is in the portion size. It's not even actually in the type of fruit. It is in the portion size. ஒரு வேளைக்கு நீங்க ஒரு கையளவு தான் ஃப்ரூட் சாப்பிடணும், and that too you can't have it right after dinner. Give a gap. You can have it at bedtime, no problem. But we recommend pairing that fruit with a nut for a protein. So you want to always pair up the fruit with something that has protein. So usually the old thing, right? Paal and palam, that's a good example. Or just paal, because paal la vandu protein um புரதச்சத்தும் இருக்கு, மாவுச்சத்தும் இருக்கு. ஆனா பழம் மட்டும் சாப்பிடும்போது அதுல மாவுச்சத்து மட்டும்தான் இருக்கு. சோ நீங்க புரதச்சத்தை எப்படி கொண்டு வர முடியும்னா nuts or 10 almonds or 5 walnuts. So you want to do the pairing. You want to pair fruit and nut together. You can have it at dinner. You can have it not at dinner, after dinner. You can have it as a mid-morning snack, mid-evening snack. Types of fruit, that goes into a whole thing called glycemic index, which I don't want to get into. Glycemic index வந்து எந்த fruit betterன்னு சொன்னோம். ஆனா what trumps that? அதாவது அதுக்கு மேல முக்கியமானது வந்து அளவு. சோ நீங்க இப்ப பப்பாயா சாப்பிடலாம். பப்பாயா டயபெட்டிக்கு நல்லது, ஏன்னா அதுல லோ கிளைசிமிக் இண்டெக்ஸ் இருக்குன்னு சொல்லிட்டு நீங்க நிறைய பப்பாயா சாப்பிட்டீங்கன்னா you're defeating the purpose. So what I practice here with my patients is eat any fruit you want, but it's only going to be a half a cup. Or if it's a tennis ball size of a fruit, half of that fruit at a time தான் சாப்பிடணும். ஒரு bowl full-ஆ சாப்பிடக்கூடாது. Half of a cup you can have, but you want to pair it up with a nut. So சமயம் பிள்ளைங்க வந்து string cheese or small cheese cube மாதிரி எடுத்துக்குவாங்க. That's also fine. You can have some people make smoothies from fruit. அதுல வந்து make sure you put some protein powder in it or add some paal into it to get protein. So that's how you can make use of a fruit. So எல்லா ஃப்ரூட்ஸுமே நீங்க சாப்பிடலாம். அளவு தான் முக்கியம். அதுக்கு பிறகு there are some fruits that are better than the others. But that goes into glycemic index அப்படிங்கிற டாபிக் நீங்க படிச்சீங்கன்னா you'll get more. But for today, that will eliminate confusion. எல்லா ஃப்ரூட்டும் சாப்பிடலாம், டின்னருக்கு அப்புறமும் நீங்க ஃப்ரூட் சாப்பிடலாம். ஆனா you have to pair it up with a protein, because நீங்க protein ஓட pair பண்ணாட்டி your blood sugar will spike up too fast. protein helps to maintain the blood sugar through the night. Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Just a quick one. When
Yes.
yeah, I do understand that you have stayed away from glycemic index because it's a technical subject. And this is
Yes.
But when you ask them to study about the glycemic index to understand what it is, I think it is important that that portion that you're talking about is relating to glycemic load. Okay, so they should look at glycemic load and glycemic index also, so that they know that. So, for example, watermelon. Okay, it's got a very low glycemic load, but if you take because it's got a low glycemic load, you take 3 or 4 tumblers because it's nice, then you get into a okay. So that I think you can highlight to me.
Exactly, just like how Mr. Ramanathan said, yes, that is, he's correct. Now, just because you pick a low glycemic food, you can't eat a lot of it. So I didn't go into it. நீங்க எந்த ஃப்ரூட் சாப்பிட்டாலும் ஒரு கை அளவு, இல்லாட்டி ஒரு half a cup, நீங்க பேக்கிங் கப்ஸ் இருந்துச்சுன்னா, இல்லாட்டி ஒரு ஆப்பிள், பெரிய ஆப்பிள்னா அரை ஆப்பிள், சின்ன ஆப்பிள்னா ஒரு ஃபுல் ஆப்பிள் சாப்பிடலாம். And then the glycemic index balance பண்றதுக்கு தான் actually I didn't want to go into technicalities. அந்த protein நீங்க சேர்த்தீங்கன்னா it will balance. So fruit ஓட ஒரு நட்டு, இல்லாட்டி ஒரு fruit ஓட ஒரு அரை கப் தயிர் மேலே சின்னமா fruit கட் பண்ணி போட்டு சாப்பிடுவாங்க. You can do that.
All right, I think there's someone asking in the message here. So the question is, vegetables, diet is great. Basically, it comes to your rule 1. The thing is that most of it is contaminated, with the pesticides and stuff to make it fresh. So obviously, it could be harmful, So what is your take on that?
Yes. So, நீங்க வந்து so generally if you and that too at this time எல்லா vegetables நீங்க குக் பண்ணி சாப்பிடுறது இப்போதைக்கு பெட்டரா இருக்கு. ஏன்னா germs நீங்க kill பண்ணிடுவீங்க. So நீங்க pesticides-க்கு worry பண்ணாதீங்க unless you are wash it thoroughly, and then if it has a skin, try to peel the skin. Yes, of course, some people worry the fiber is going to go away, but there is fiber inside the fruit and vegetable as well, not just in the skin. It is also inside layum இருக்குது. So நீங்க fruits and vegetables, try to go local. நீங்க fancy storesல வாங்காம உங்களுடைய ஊருக்குள்ளே வளர்ற fruitsக்கு first preference கொடுங்க. And number 1, it will keep that business alive. Second, that they're going to sell it that day, within 2-3 days, and go on. So the Indiaல இருக்கவங்க நிறைய பேர் இது பண்றாங்க. But other countriesல வந்து I know we go to aisles and pick it up from it's not in a freezer, but even if it's sitting outside, it's in that cold area. பரவாயில்லை. அதுல என்ன சொல்ல வரேன்னா, maybe with all of that கொஞ்சம் nutrients போயிருக்கும், but you still have the rest of the nutrients. இதுக்கு பயந்து vegetable சாப்பிடாம இருக்க வேண்டாம். அதை வாங்கிட்டு you can remove the skin, cook it thoroughly, and you can have it. So இந்த processல கொஞ்சம் nutrients போனாலும் அதனுடைய advantages தான் ஜாஸ்தி. So பரவாயில்லை, you can still have it. And the vegetables, like I said in my thing, aim for 1.5 to 2 cups. Or what, one of people who know me know that our household is கூட்டு தான் எங்க வீட்ல எப்ப பார்த்தாலும் கூட்டு தான் இருக்கும். So it's because கூட்டு is like all in one for me. It has protein, it has vegetables. So first கூட்டுல தான் முதல்ல தட்டுல கூட்டு தான் போடுவேன். So கூட்டு முதல்ல போட்டு அதுக்கு மேல ரைஸ் போட்டீங்கன்னா it's another way of looking at your food. So கூட்டுக்கு மேல கொஞ்சம் சாதம் போட்டுட்டு you can mix that and have it. And if you're a person who doesn't take lunchbox to work, start taking it. That would be another good thing.
All right, great. So there's another question here. Is it advisable to take half ripe fruits? அந்த அரவைக்காடு பாதி பழுத்த fruits இருக்குல்ல, so அது சாப்பிடலாமான்னு கேட்டிருக்காங்க, especially for diabetes.
For diabetes, yes, you can, but I don't want you to assume again that நீங்க பழமா இருக்கிறதுல தான் அதிகமான சுகர் இருக்குது, காயா இருக்கிறதுல இல்ல. ஆக்சுவலா வாழைக்காயில there is as much sugar as in the banana, the ripe banana. It might be a different form. So இதுல வந்து காம்ப்ளெக்ஸ் கார்போஹைட்ரேட்டா இருக்கும், இதுல வரும்போது சிம்பிள் கார்போஹைட்ரேட்டா மாறுது. எஸ், பட் குவான்டிட்டி தான் ஸ்டில் முக்கியம். ஸோ நீங்க உங்களுக்கு வேணுங்கிறத ரொம்ப மைன்யூட் திங்கிங்குள்ள போகாம ஓரளவு ஒரு கையளவு நீங்க அந்த ஃப்ரூட்டை சாப்பிட்டீங்கன்னா இட்ஸ் ஓகே. பட் திங்கிங் தட் just like the other person said, thinking watermelon is good, you can't have 4 cups. Same way, okay, அரவேக்காடு பழம் குட், அதனால நான் I can have 2 or 3. அப்படி போகாம எதுவா இருந்தாலும் ஒரு பழம், அது கூட நட்ஸ். So நீங்க கேட்குற question is more with glycemic index again, like on the raw vegetable sugar content and the ripe vegetable sugar content at the end is going to be pretty much the same. The type may be different. இப்போ வந்து ஏன்னா நம்ம if I take you really back into our chemistry class, little sugars make that big carbohydrate starch இல்லையா? So அதுல fructose, glucose, galactose எல்லாமே இருக்கும். So நீங்க சொல்ற அரவேக்காடு பழத்துல வேற ஒரு மாதிரியான sugar இருக்கும், but there is still sugar in it. It might be a complex carb, but it still has carbohydrates. So fruits இருந்தாலுமே நீங்க ஸ்நாக்குன்னு வரும்போது ஒரு கையளவு சாப்பிடுங்க, பட் அதுதான் நீங்க மீலா சாப்பிடணும்னு நினைச்சா ரைஸ் இல்லாம அதை சாப்பிடலாம். Because if you go back to my slide, which Meyya will send it out, on the slides la pathina, all those things that compete for carbs, adula enna enna neenga saappalam. Urlakilangu kuda enakku urlakilangu mattum dhaan enoda carbohydrate nu decide pannalum okay da. Inga how people will make like a potato, baked potato, and then they'll just eat it with some chicken. So they won't have rice. So another they're substituting rice with potato. So if you make your substitutions right, you can build your plate how you want and stay within the quantities.
That's great. Okay, there's another question here. Okay, I think this is something related to me. So what do you think about removing salt and sugar completely from our diet, as we have strong family history of diabetes and heart disease?
Yes, yes, South Asians. So South Asians, because why I keep going back to South Asians, because Nagaratharla mattu, because I am going everything evidence-based, right? Research articles irukadha vechthane na pesa mudiyum. So South Asians ku nariya research irukudhu, and we fall under that category. So therefore I can use that research. So yes, nama Nagaratharku jaasthiyana alave irukudhu, but there are no research done exactly on Nagarathar. But South Asians la yes, heart disease, diabetes irukudhu. And actually South Asians bear like half the burden of the whole world's heart disease. And if you notice, you saw during COVID, a lot of people that before the age of 40, they had their first heart attack. And that is actually happening younger and younger. But adukku nama salt complete eliminate panna vendam. The amount is sodium ode recommendation for South Asians specifically, it is 1500 milligrams. So yaar ketanglo kelvi avangalukku badil vandu 2400 milligram kadayadu. Salt and sodium vandu general population ku, if you go on Google and you just say what's my sodium recommendation for the day, it'll say 2400 milligrams. But when you have a risk, நம்ம ஒரு factor add in பண்ணணும். அதை add பண்ணும்போது we are reduced to 1500 milligrams. ஏன்னா நம்ம salt eliminate பண்ணாலும் sodium is going to be there in other foods that grow. எல்லா பூமியில வளர்ற எல்லாத்துலயுமே கொஞ்சம் sodium இருக்கும். But salt வந்து minimum யூஸ் பண்ணலாம் unless you have like a kidney disease. You don't have to go to the level of taking out all salt. Enjoy food, add a little bit salt, and when you ask me how much is that 1500 milligrams going to equal to, if you have a teaspoon at home, it's about a half a teaspoon for the whole day per person. So நீங்க புளிக்குழம்பு ரசம் எல்லாம் எடுத்துக்கிட்டீங்கன்னா you're done because you're gone. உங்களுடைய salt intake ஒரு கரண்டி புளிக்குழம்புலே போயிடும். அதனால்தான் so your question could be, சாம்பார் கூட்ல எல்லாம் போடுற அளவு உப்பு நம்ம அதோட ஜாஸ்தி தான் புளிக்குழம்பு ரசத்துல போடுறோம். And chutney, these are the three important things in South Asian spots where sodium is found. புளிக்குழம்பு, rasam, and chutney. Hands down. இது மூணுமே நம்ம அவாய்ட் பண்ணாட்டி ஒரு 10 நாளைக்கு ஒருக்கா சாப்பிடலாம். And if you're a புளிக்குழம்பு type of person, change to a sambar person. That's what I recommend. So yeah, and sugar complete avoid panna. Sugar, yes, table sugar avoid panna. The yaar enakku kelvi ketaanga table sugar, sure, go ahead and avoid it because you'll be getting your carbohydrate or sugar from rice. Rice kulla irukkodum carbohydrate nalu adoroda minute particle per sugar தான். So adula irundhu ungalku varapodhu. So ungalku theviyana alavu carbs vandu parupula irundhu kuda ungalku varapodhu. So sugar, table sugar you can eliminate. Salt, it is your choice, but don't go more than half a teaspoon per person per day. Yeah.
Okay. So there's another question here. In Malaysia especially, there's a trend now using air fryer. And so they use air fryer. So what is your opinion on that, using this air fryer?
Yes, so go ahead and use it. You can use air fryer. Well, I have not gone too much into the details. It's similar to a pressure cooker style. The technicalities, how it functions, எனக்கு தெரியாது. But air fryer la enna valakka pannalam. fish fry பண்ணலாம். It is recommended, please use it because நீங்க everyday யூஸ் பண்ண போறது இல்ல. பிள்ளைங்க இருக்க வீட்ல வாரத்துல 2 தடவை 3 தடவை ஏர் ஃப்ரையர் யூஸ் பண்ணலாம். It is better than fried food itself because நம்ம எண்ணெய் வறுத்த எண்ணெயை தூக்கியும் போட மாட்டேங்கிறோம். அந்த எண்ணெயை திரும்ப வேற பயன்படுத்துறோம். So அதுக்கு பதிலா air fryer is better. So always when things come up, you look at the advantages and disadvantages, and if one outweighs the other, just go with it. So air fryer, thumbs up, yes, use it because it's definitely better than frying. Second most important thing, அந்த வறுத்த எண்ணெயோட பிரச்சனையே இருக்காது வீட்ல. ஏன்னா அந்த வறுத்த எண்ணெயை என்ன பண்ணுங்கிறது தான் மெயின் பிரச்சனை. So அதனால that problem is eliminated. So therefore air fryer is fine.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question is, I think this is for specifically vegetarians. In a vegetarian, usually, we try to have something different from the vegetables or something different from the rule number 1. So we in Malaysia or Singapore, we tend to go for the mock meat. That's chicken mariya irukku, ana chicken la. It's soya based. So what is your opinion on those mock meats?
Okay, so mock meat is yes, it's soya based, but they put in a lot of fillers. So this is a really good question. So if you're vegetarian and for mock meat, if you're outside, try your best. It's okay, eat that once in a while. ஏன்னா அதுல நிறைய fillers இருக்கு, நிறைய sodium இருக்குது because they have to bring in that taste with sodium. Wheatல you can make your own mock meat, which is nothing but old style, like cutlet, உருண்டைகள் பண்றது தான் the mock meat basically. So நீங்க மீல் மேக்கர் வாங்கிட்டு இல்லாட்டி பருப்பு உருண்டை அதுல என்ன வேணாலும் நீங்க வீட்ல flavoring போட்டு நீங்களே பண்ணுங்க உங்களுடைய mock meat. I know I have a few vegetarians here that I can already identify. Tofu வச்சு நீங்களே cutlet பண்ணலாம் பன்னீருக்கு பதிலா because tofu has slightly lower amount of fat. So நீங்க mock meat try to avoid no more than 1 time a week if it's ready made. If you're making your own, go ahead and have it every day. Because you control the ingredients, you didn't add fillers. So நீங்க meal maker வாங்கி அதை ஊற போட்டுட்டு மிக்ஸில grind பண்ணா, there you go, you got your mock meat. Add whatever seasoning you want, make it into cutlets, put it in the air fryer or put it on the tawa and saute it. அதவே நீங்களே freeze பண்ணி வச்சுக்கலாம் வீட்ல. ஒரு நாள் உட்கார்ந்து எல்லாத்தையும் பண்ணிட்டா நீங்களே freeze பண்ணிக்கலாம். But அந்த mock meat it does have a lot of sodium as well. ஏன்னா அவங்க அந்த flavoring போடும்போது preservative போடுறதுக்கு கண்டிப்பா பயன்படுத்துறாங்க. So you have to be careful, and soy products try to limit, like you don't want to have too much of soy. Balance up. Vegetarians go all routes. பருப்பும் யூஸ் பண்ணுங்க, பால் தயிரும் யூஸ் பண்ணுங்க, எல்லாமே ஒரு அளவு யூஸ் பண்ணுங்க. Daily soy வேண்டாம். You could do 3 times a week, but there are so many wonderful recipes for making your own mock meat that looks just like a chicken.
All right, that's good. So it's better to have it at home and self rather than restaurants.
Restaurantல நிறைய sodium இருக்கும் அதுல and lot of fillers. அதாவது என்ன போடுவாங்க நமக்கு தெரியாது. Like they will நிறைய carbs-உம் இருக்கும் அந்த mock meatல, உங்களுக்கே தெரியாது.
Agree. Okay, so there's another question here, like pickle thosai pudi. Are these items need to watch for our salt?
Exactly, yes. Urga podi, it has a very actually நீங்க correct. யார் இத சொன்னீங்களோ நான் அதுல விட்டுட்டேன். அந்த புளிக்குழம்பு சொல்லும்போது அது இத மறந்துட்டேன். Urga and podi. So urga and podi, this is, I have this rule in my house. If you want to follow it, it's okay. என்னைக்கு வீட்ல காயே இல்லையோ அன்னைக்கு தான் ஊர்கா. Then that comes to about like only once a month. Then it's okay. But every day ஒரு சொட்டு ஊர்கா, அப்புறம் எல்லா டைமும் தோசை சாப்பிடும்போது or இட்லி சாப்பிடும்போது பொடி அவாய்ட் பண்ணிக்கங்க. But unless பொடி you could make it with less salt, but ஊர்கா you can't because அது preservative ஆயிடுது இல்ல. So நீங்க யார் வீட்ல பொடி பண்றாங்களோ, பொடி பண்றவங்க உப்பு குறைச்சிட்டு வேணா பாருங்க. பட் இருந்தாலும் அது டெய்லி சாப்பிட முடியாது இல்லைன்னா ஓரளவு உப்பு போடலாம் பொடி நல்லா இருக்கும். ஸோ உப்பு இல்லாத பொடி நிறைய பேர் பண்றாங்க. இஃப் யூ ஆர் கெட்டிங் யூஸ் டு த டேஸ்ட், தட்ஸ் ஓகே. பட் ஊர்கா once a month. Really, that is the rule. Once a month only. Or I'm in a hurry, I have to eat tayir sadam and urga, go for it. Because that's better than going out and buying some junk. அப்படின்னா பரவாயில்ல, ஆனா அது பழக்கமா டெய்லி நம்ம சாப்பிட வேண்டாம். அது உப்பு கண்டத்துக்கும் சேரும். The same role.
All right. Yeah, Dr. Subbu, you have another question? Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
it's not a question. Sorry, I just want to share with my experience because I do lots of preventive health screenings. I hope you don't mind me sharing this.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, Ramanathan and Anna was asking about the younger generations and bodybuilders taking lots of proteins and everything. So this is what I would like to suggest, just based on my experience. For those who are into this, I would strongly suggest you all have a baseline of a blood test done. It won't cost you much. Baseline of your liver function, kidney function, this from your blood test. Just do a baseline. If you're interested to go into the gym or taking protein supplements, just do this baseline blood test first, and then maybe you can monitor 6 months or once a year. You can repeat and see how it's going to be different. And then you can also consult a good doctor. If the results are abnormal, you can consult a good doctor and ask for his advice. Yeah, that's from my experience. Thank you.
Actually, Rumba, thank you. That's exactly right. Because if your liver function and your kidney tests are off, you can't be taking a bunch of that protein supplements. Yes.
Okay. Archie, I got another question here because on the rule number 1, number 2, number 3, it doesn't include anything on sweet because I'm a guy who got a sweet tooth. And either cake or alva or payasam or ice cream, or even in Malaysia we got this thing, ice kacang is a famous dessert, right? So obviously, because like Narayana said, I'm an athlete. I do triathlons and duathlons. So having sweet or sugar things, it just burnt off from my body. But the thing is that it was not actually part of your plate itself. So my question is, can we add it to your plate or maybe another quarter?
Another quarter இல்ல அந்த பிளேட்ல 3 தான் அதுக்கு மேல குவார்ட்டர்ஸ் கிடையாது அந்த பிளேட்ல. Yes. So இப்போ நீங்க when you're younger, dessert வந்து this is another rule that I've created with my patient population and it works really well. The 2-inch by 2-inch rule. Okay. So if you want to have a piece of something, 2-inch by 2-inch square. Okay. பரவாயில்ல சாப்பிடலாம் ஒரு நாளைக்கு ஒரு தடவை and try to start rethinking it and say, okay, இன்னைக்கு நம்ம நிஜமாவே ஒரு லட்டு or ஒரு அல்வா சாப்பிட்டாதான் நமக்கு சாட்டிஸ்ஃபைடா இருக்குங்கிறத கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா மாத்தி ஃப்ரூட்டுக்கு மாத்த ஆரம்பிக்கணும். நீங்க யங்கா இருக்கும்போது below 40 பரவாயில்ல, go ahead, but never, I don't want to do, don't do like 3-4 laddus. நம்ம பண்ணுவோம், தீபாவளிக்கு பண்ணலாம், ஃபங்க்ஷன் once a quarter அப்படி இருக்கிறப்ப அப்பதான் அந்த காலத்துல அப்படிதான் சாப்பிட்டுக்கிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. So அப்போ வந்து you can have lot of sweets if you want. You're enjoying, no problem. Cake சாப்பிடுறோம் for birthdays. I didn't include it because அந்த பிளேட்ல வந்து அது டெய்லிக்கு வரக்கூடாது. அதனால include பண்ணல. But if you want to have something, the rule is 2-inch by 2-inch. So just go ahead. If you have to eat a piece of something that's 2 inches by 2 inches, eat it. But if you are a full-fledged diabetic, just make sure it's not a habit every day.
Oh, that's a good advice. 2 times 2.
2-inch by 2-inch, yeah.
Okay. So any other question?
I think, we're at about the finishing time. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Any final questions?
Can you touch a little bit on this diet? A lot of people are tempted to do that.
Repeat பண்ணுங்க brother. Sorry, கேக்கல.
Narayana, I think you're muted.
Can you touch a little bit more on this keto diet?
Yes, so keto diet வந்து, how can I say, to put it in simple words, அதுக்கும் நீங்க வந்து you should, like the other person said, it's better. Keto diet வந்து it's very high in fat. So it's better you do your cholesterol levels before starting that diet. You will lose a lot of weight. So keto diet is basically no carbs at all and a lot of meat, a lot of chicken. அதை சாப்பிட்டு நம்ம ரொம்ப lean ஆயிருவோம், but you will gain it back very fast. So you can do, I recommend, if people want to kickstart your weight loss, do your blood levels first. And then maybe people will do 1 week of keto diet and feel like they lost a few pounds, then they start regular diet. That is okay. You cannot do not do keto diet for more than, don't do it for more than 1 week without, and please don't do it without doing your blood levels because your cholesterol will go up. The better way is just start doing it with doing exercise, regular eating, but keep an eye on protein. Eat more protein, but keto diet la அதிகமான அளவு நம்ம protein சாப்பிடணும். So I'm going to leave it at that because I think more details we could, even talk after.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So looks like we have came to the end of the session. So thanks a lot, Archie, for all your information. And
You're welcome.
it's a lot of things to
Yeah.
bring back. All right. A full plate, I would say. All right. So a lot of information. And one thing I realized today, master oru thadam urga use pannum or urga saapidum.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
And 2 times 2. Yeah.
Yes,
That's a good idea.
For dessert, like if you want to have dessert, don't always go for a large amount. Go for something small, and if it is a birthday party, go ahead and have it without feeling guilty. Yeah.
That's great.
Okay. Thanks to everybody who came and watched. That's really nice of you. I had wonderful questions, and I think it's really started picking up towards the end, and everybody really got into it.
Please you just need a warm up at the beginning.
Yes, Archie, solunga Archie.
Please say about the dinner and breakfast.
Okay, dinner வந்து lunch மாதிரி தான் ஆச்சு. The 3 rules, அதே 3 rules தான் டின்னருக்கு. நீங்க மாத்திக்கலாம், பலகாரத்தை மாத்திக்கலாம். ரைஸ்க்கு பதிலா 2 இட்லி or 3 சப்பாத்தி அந்த மாதிரி சாப்பிடலாம். பிரேக்ஃபாஸ்ட்க்கு வந்து the same 2 rules. கீழ இருக்க bottom rules must be there. Vegetable வந்து optional. So there must be protein and a vegetable. So for example, ஒரு cup of kanji, 2 boiled egg whites. You can have that. That can be a breakfast. You can have 2 slices of bread with some peanut butter or an omelette in the middle. That's a good breakfast. 2 idli. You can have 2 idli with a sambar. Nariya namma chetti vidla kaalele breakfast le namma vegetables saapduvom. Then go ahead, please. Because the optional nu sonnadhu, not all of us can get vegetables in the morning. So the same 3 rules can apply for breakfast. You just have to change up the food. If you go to the slide neenga poningena achi like kolakatta irukku. பணியாரம் இருக்குது. பணியாரம் சொல்றது நான் சொல்றது இந்த குழி பணியாரம் இருக்குது. All that is there, but whatever can fit into a cup is how much you should have. So kuli paniyaram, I know in my household, I myself can eat 20 kuli paniyarams. Idukkulla oru 7 dhaan fit agum. So basically 7 dhaan nama saapidano, kind of, whatever fits into the cup. So breakfast items, if you go back into the slide, any item oru cup-kulla fit agiradhu plus protein in oru cup-kulla fit agiradhu. So oru cup sambar with 2 idlis, கீரை பொரியல் அடிக்கடி பண்ணுவோம் நம்ம செட்டி வீட்ல, அது எடுத்துக்கலாம். So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you.
One last thing, that's clear?
Yes, Archie.
Yeah. How about intermittent fasting as a lifestyle?
Yes, so as a lifestyle, that's how much commitment you have. So if you want to do it in a modified way and not abuse it. In intermittent fasting, by the way, is people who want to eat only for the 10 hours and the rest of the 14 hours or 16 hours they fast, right? Adu neenga correcta neenga panningena, it will really serve you. And modified, I don't recommend a full 14-hour fasting or a 16. You could just do regular, stop eating after 8 p.m. and start eating again after 8 p.m. in the morning, so you get a 12 hours there. That itself is intermittent fasting. You don't have to go to the 16 hours. And some people do it as madhyanam 12 la irundhu na saapiduven 10 varaikum. It's up to you. Adu ungalku sustainable an paathukanga. And when you're eating within that, and nama 14 hours fast pandrom sollittu adula ellathayum control pannittu irukra 10 hours la I don't want you to graze the whole time. Enakku 10 minutes na enna venalum saaptukalam appadinu poira kodadu. So there has to be done. I don't want you to abuse the intermittent fasting. So when you think of intermittent fasting, you still want to fit in at least a couple of meals there. Plan that meal, eat it, and then I recommend more regular hours, like, stop at 8 p.m., start again at 8 a.m. Or, aduve better irukkum instead of doing the full fasting and then eating and the saapida kudaikira velaila ellathayum saapidama balanced ah irukudhu enoda take on that.
All right, thank you.
One more question. How about snacks and coffee?
Coffee. So caffeine வந்து நமக்கு ஒரு நாளைக்கு 400 milligrams வரைக்கும் எடுக்கலாம். So I'm sure that didn't make any sense to you. But so breaking it down, 2 cup coffee a day we can have. And cup நான் சொல்றது நம்மளுடைய அந்த டம்ளர் உலக்கு கிட்ட இருக்கும்ல ஒரு டம்ளர், அந்த டம்ளர்ல ஒரு கப் காஃபி morning and 1 in the evening is okay. If you have other issues like acidity and stuff and you don't want coffee, it's okay. Tea layum caffeine irukkudu. So tea and coffee fall in the same group. So total of 2 per day is okay.
Good.
And based on if you have diabetes or this or that, you can add or sugar or not add sugar, it's up to you. And then your question about snacks. So snacks வந்து என்ன சொல்றது, நம்மளோட நொறுக்கு தீனி snacks வந்து you can't do it every day. Preferably நம்ம அவிச்ச கொழுக்கட்டை or a handful of that, pori, popcorn, fruit. So I want you to consider fruit to become your snack. That way you'll be able to give up the norkuthinis. Fruit and nut, அதுவும் unsalted nuts. ஸோ இது நீங்க சாப்பிடலாம். அந்த ஸ்நாக்ஸுக்கு வந்து நிஜமாவே ரூலே இல்லைங்க. நானே தான் அந்த 2x2 inch ரூல் ஐ யூஸ் இட் வித் ஆல் மை பேஷன்ஸ் அண்ட் இட் வொர்க்ஸ் கிரேட். இதுக்கு எனக்கு ரூல் தெரியல. இப்போ மிக்சரு, காராசேவு அதெல்லாம் வந்து I'm going to say once in a while, don't even have it, just have it once in 10 days. They are very high in carbs, they're very high in salt. So I would recommend ஆச்சி அந்த ஸ்நாக் டைம் வரும்போது நம்ம மனசு அப்படி இழுத்து நம்ம we have to train it to think of fruit or crackers சாப்பிடலாம். இந்த மாதிரி wheat thin crackers எல்லாம் கிடைக்கும், 4 or 6 சாப்பிடலாம். But நொறுக்குத்தீனி types of things we'll have to stop.
Okay, good.
Great. So as a suggestion, we should have another session maybe in coming months. So definitely there are a lot of topics which we can dive in. So I'm sure we will invite Archie again to speak on different field or different topics on relating to diet. So yes, definitely. All right. So thanks a lot for everyone for your support. So I'm sure there are people from Australia, there are people from India, Singapore, Malaysia, and of course US itself. So it's great, and definitely a lot of things we have learned today. All right. So on the plate mattonla, there's a lot of things on the plate that we learned today. So Archie really gave us a lot of information, good informations for us to take back. So I hope it will be really useful for all of you. So if you have any other suggestions or any other topics for discussion in moving forward, so do let me know. And do take note, this session has been recorded, so I will upload it on YouTube. And maybe later today or tomorrow, I will send the link to you together with the slides itself. So Archie, you have any final words to say?
No, that's all. Thanks to everybody. I know it was really early morning, really early start for India. I think other countries it was a little bit okay timing, and in the US later day. But thank you so much for coming. And if you want, we can attach my email address with Annan's, in the recording, and then you can ask me any questions on the side, because I know I couldn't answer everybody's. Because then I don't want to delve into something in detail and then it doesn't make sense for the others. Thank you, everybody, and bye-bye. Have a great day. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Nandri.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.